Hello again, and welcome to my English class. Today's lesson is the second part of the first video, which I have made regarding the relative pronouns. Um, uh, let's begin. The lesson today is the second part of the object relative pronouns. First one we did the subject relative pronouns. Now we talk about object relative pronouns, which comes at the object position. So let's read together this email from Miss Nawal to Mr. Yusuf. Dear Yusuf, I hope you are doing great. Are you staying at home like me? This is the school where I learned English. Do you remember the teacher whom we met in Al Jadida? It was in this school where he taught me English. I never forget the time when he encouraged me. Bye for now, Nawal. So, this is it looks like a postcard, this image of a school, high school, where maybe Nawal has studied. So, let's check our understanding. So, Nawal, the writer of this postcard, is pointing out at her favorite city. Is it true or false? Take time to answer this question. One, so maybe you said true or false, so the best option is false because she's talking about her favorite school. Okay, let's start with the object relative pronouns. We use them for people. For people we use whom, and we use who and that or nothing. So let's start with whom. The use of whom. How do we use whom to talk about people or to refer to people, a person? Example, that's the man whom I met. Normally this was a two-part sentences. We say that's the man, I met that man. So to avoid repetition we say that's the man whom I met. It's like this whom I met is a clause that gives us more information about the man. Let's see another option for who. We can use whom or who. On the same position, we say that's the man who I met, or we say that's the man that I met. Or we can also use nothing, not that, not who, not whom. We simply say that's the man I met. The difference between whom, who, that, and no pronoun is that whom is more formal. When we say formal, when we talk about professional relationships, or when you address your teacher or your supervisor or your colleagues at work, colleagues of course with a higher hierarchy, not just like you. So this is how it will look like. So from up to down, we say formal to informal. If you say, for example, that's the man I met, it's like you're talking to your friend or your brother or your sister. But when you're talking to someone who's higher in position, or you have a distance relationship, you may use whom or who. Or in your writing, in your business writing, we don't use no pronoun or that, but we use whom and who very frequently. So let's move and see how we can refer to places using where. We study some example. Wuhan is a city. Coronavirus first broke out in Wuhan. I forgot to mention this. So we make this into one sentence. We combine these two sentences. We say Wuhan is the city where coronavirus broke out. Or another example, airports are points where checks have been placed. You know that today and nowadays, all the airports, there are checks to check whether people are contaminated with the virus or not. For time, as you can see here, we may use when to refer to a time. An example: I remember the day, which day, when I first traveled abroad. I personally remember that day when I first traveled abroad. I can't forget. Or we can say that instead of when. So when or that are interchangeable. You can use this or that one. Example: I remember the day that I first traveled abroad. So that and when can be used both to refer to a time. Now let's practice. So in the practice, what we do is that you write, it's like in the exam, you rewrite each pair, you read first each pair of sentences, you understand them, then you use a relative pronoun when or where to combine the two pairs into one. Let's study this first example together and I'll let you do the rest. That's the house. That's the house. I grew up in that house. So house is repeated. To make it in one sentence, we need to use a house is a place, so we need to use where. So the sentence will look: that's the house where I grew up. So to avoid repetition, we use the pronoun where, which comes at the position. So sentence number 2, the school is big. I studied in that school. Number 3, more COVID-19 cases have been confirmed in Italy. Italy is a European country. My mother died on that day. I can't forget that day. Coronavirus broke out in 2020. 2020 is the year. This is the restaurant. Delicious meals are served in this restaurant. And the last one, Yusufia is a small city. Most phosphate is treated in Yusufia. And that's it. Hope you enjoy and understand lesson. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them on the comments and enjoy it. Goodbye.